For 2 decades, Africa has spoken in one voice, demanding justice, equity, and representation in the highest organ of global governance. This demand, however, continues to be ignored, deferred, or endlessly debated to the detriment of both Africa and the legitimacy of the United Nations itself.
Hello guys, welcome to Auntie Yummy TV channel. As you know, this channel used to be Auntie Yummy Kitchen, but now it's been changed to Auntie Yummy TV because from now onwards we are going to be talking about news and politics on this channel. I really apologize to all my subscribers who subscribe because of cooking. But from now onwards, we are going to change. Maybe I'm going to open a separate channel for cooking. But for the meantime, we'll be listening to news and politics from Africa and around the world. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Let's continue supporting this channel. If you love news and politics, and if you love Auntie Yummy, then this is the right channel for you to watch and subscribe and continue commenting. We need to know what is happening around Africa or across the world. Remember to also subscribe to my other channel, Auntie Yummy 74, where I always also do news and politics. I normally do a lot of Jamaican videos, but sometimes I mix. That's why I have to separate, because that channel I like making Caribbean videos. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Today is another day. You know, if you don't know, there was a 80th United Nations General Assembly Summit in New York the past week. And I quoted a speech by President Ruto of Kenya. And that address, most of the leaders, especially African leaders, were very convinced. I've heard other bloggers talking about it. But I thought, why not? So today we are going to listen to this speech together, guys. I'm going to explain to you. You heard from the beginning of this video, I prayed just few minutes. But after my address, I'm going to play a video. Then we'll analyze. Listen to this video as you continue to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And let me know what you think about the whole speech. We'll talk much after this.
For 2 decades, Africa has spoken in one voice, demanding justice, equity, and representation in the highest organ of global governance. This demand, however, continues to be ignored, deferred, or endlessly debated to the detriment of both Africa and the legitimacy of the United Nations itself. You cannot claim to be the United Nations while disregarding the voice of 54 nations. It is not possible. Africa is no longer willing to wait on the margins of global governance while decisions about peace, security, and development are made without our understanding, without our perspectives, and without our voice. Africa's exclusion is not only unacceptable, unfair, and grossly unjust, it also undermines the very credibility of the United Nations, this organization. During the IMF's recent allocation of special drawing rights, 64% went to wealthy nations. Just imagine, 64%. With little need for liquidity support. They didn't need the money anyway, but they got 64%. While the poorer countries received just 2.4%. What a disconnect. The Africa Union is championing 3 transformative institutions. The Africa Central Bank, which will issue a single currency and free our trade from dependence on foreign money. The Africa Monetary Fund, positioned to stabilize our economies and give us true financial sovereignty. And the Africa Investment Bank, designed to mobilize resources for infrastructure, industrialization, and integration that Africa needs to rise. And to complete this vision, the Africa Credit Rating Agency, one that understands our realities, values our uniqueness, and tells our story with fairness and truth, has already been established. Madam President, the President of the 88th session of the UN General Assembly, Madam Annalena Baerbock, Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I congratulate you, Madam President, on your election to preside over the 80th session of the UN General Assembly. We cannot condemn suffering in one place and turn a blind eye in another. Kenya is gravely concerned by the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza and by the immense suffering of civilians caught in the devastation of disproportionate military operations. At the same time, we call for the unconditional release of Israeli hostages. In line with the Africa Union and United Nations resolutions, we also call for a permanent ceasefire, for strict adherence to international humanitarian law, and for the launch of a credible political process. Only through such a process can the vision of a 2-state solution be realized, where Israel and Palestine live side by side in peace, security, and stability. Kenya is equally deeply troubled by the worsening humanitarian situation in Sudan, where innocent citizens are caught in the crossfire of a needless war. We fully endorse the Quad, comprising Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and the United States, in affirming that there cannot be a military solution and that only political dialogue offers a viable path forward. We join the Quad in urging all parties, including SAF, RSF, and the external actors, to respect Sudan's sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity, and firmly reject any attempts to divide the country, reaffirming our unwavering support for a unified Sudan for the benefit of all its people. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, those who look to the future with a clear vision know that climate change is not only the single greatest threat of our age, but also one of the greatest transformations.
In his speech, President Ruto of Kenya argued that the United Nations is at the crossroads, either renewal or decay. He called for urgent reform of both the UN itself and the global financial architecture. He pressed for fairer treatment over developing countries. This is how it gets much deeper and deeper. You know, when the conversation gets deeper and serious, let's listen what he said. This is just a summary, because if you want me to explain to you in details, this video is gonna take longer and longer. But you know, nowadays people, they've got a lot of things to do, so I don't want to make it longer, but I'm going to try to summarize the speech. Especially Africa, and insisted Africa be granted permanent seats. You know, the United Nations has got seats for almost each and every country around the world except Africa, who has got, I think, only one seat, permanent seat, if I'm not wrong. Now, it's been ongoing. I've come across some of the African speakers who have addressed both women and men concerned that, you know what, this is not really good in this 20th century, or else, you know, people, they've been talking about it non-stop, but African voice hasn't been held. Now President Ruto stood up there and tried to remind them that, you know what, this has to happen. We've been asking you for ages, but you are not listening. He continued to say full rights. He's requesting for the United Nations to recognize the African nation and give them full rights, not as it stands today, on the UN Security Council. He also addressed crisis in Gaza, which is normal thing. Each and every leader there, I think they've been addressing this. Sudan, Haiti, and defended Kenya's leadership role in peacekeeping and the Kenya Red Mission in Haiti. Might be you did not know. I think the past years Kenya has been conducting peacekeeping role in Haiti. And you heard most of the Caribbean leaders, they were talking about Haiti. Even the Jamaican Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, also mentioned about that. Even the Barbados Prime Minister, Mia Moutre, also talked about that. Even the President of Guyana, Ali, also said the same thing, and also other leaders from the Caribbean mentioned the same thing. There's a great concern about security in Haiti. And Kenyan-led mission in Haiti, as I mentioned before, the Multinational Security Support Mission. How did he open this speech? He said, I congratulate you, Miss Annalema Baerbock, on your election. 8 years ago, the international community came together to build a fair, more secure global community. Institutional layers fail because they lack vision or ideals. More often, they drift into irrelevance when they do not adapt. To remain relevant, institutions must be imagined, reformed, and renewed. On the relevance and weaknesses of the UN, because the UN might have strength, but there are also weaknesses. What are these weaknesses? We need to know. Is the United Nations relevant to the demands of our time? He criticized the Security Council as frozen in the post-war structures of 1945. Unable to act inclusively with fairness and widespread. We cannot allow this United Nations to be biased. I think this message is all about that. They've failed to be neutral. Sometimes the decision they are making is not ideal for other countries. It's like they choose that country over that country. So President Ruto is not happy with that. Peace, conflict, and Kenya rose. From conflict in Gaza and Ukraine to crisis in Sudan, DRC, Somalia, and the Sahel, we see actors proceed undeterred by the UN cause. On Haiti, where Kenya leads the mission, I think they are still there, Kenya soldiers, and the police, I think, the mandate of the MSS mission is coming to an end. Underfunded, under-equipped, operated below 40% of its authorized personnel strength. So if there's a mission which is underfunded, under-equipped. It means the peacekeepers will be involved in a lot of death, because Haiti is not a peaceful country. Haiti security is so worse. Things are not okay there. So it means there is no funding. So how can they get involved in peacekeeping where their soldiers or their military services will be killed? That's why now they want to end it. It's authorized personal strength, yet it has delivered results many thought impossible. Yea, this is the strength. Although it was underfunded, but they've managed to deliver the results, because many thought it's going to be impossible, as much as you know how Haiti is, how dangerous Haiti is. He challenged the UN. If so much could be achieved with limited resources, what more could have been accomplished if the UN fraternity had truly acted together? This is a president, an African president, who knows how things can become very difficult when there is no funding. And he's even asking, what about if it was fully funded? If we managed to deal with this situation with underfunded situation, what about if it was fully funded? Let's continue. Global financial system and institutions. He denounced how institutions like the IMF and World Bank punish poor countries while rewarding the rich. Yeah, it's always like that, my people. The poor will always suffer. When decisions are made, the poor will be affected each and every time. That's why Africa is getting poorer and poorer. But do you believe that Africa is poor? We are not poor, but they are making us to become poorer and poorer. Just because our leaders sometimes they are scared to stand up for the truth. But I'm happy because no matter what situation is in Kenya, but at the end of the day, this president will be praised for the speech which he has made to open eyes and also to get his voice to represent Africa as a whole. He noted that in the recent allocation of special drawing rights, SDRs, a large share went to rich countries, while the poorest got on a small portion. That's what happens. The poor always gets leftovers. We'll call leftovers, Mr. President. Highlighting systemic inequities. Africa and Security Council reform. Main issue. Africa dominates most of the Security Council agenda, yet remains the only continent without a permanent seat at the table. He demanded 2 permanent seats with full rights, including veto, plus 2 additional non-permanent seats for Africa. Let's pray it will happen. They will listen to this voice. He insisted that such reform is not a favor to Africa, but essential to the legitimacy and survival of the UN itself. Exactly. Because if they are not going to do it, what are you doing, you African nations? You want to just go there and vote for them? Because they will always want Africa to take part in voting. When they want some favors, they will really include Africa in voting. How long is it going to go on like that? Africa, we need to open our eyes. And our leaders are the one. Open your eyes, because most of us, we don't know what is happening there. But now, thank God we are opening our eyes for us also to know what is going on. Let's continue. Other global issues. Gaza, Israel, and Palestine. He expressed grave concern over the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza, called for a permanent ceasefire and conditional release of hostages, You know, they are hostages being held by Hamas, and credible pathway toward the two-state solution. A lot of countries now, they've recognized Palestine as a state, which is also good. Sudan, he called on parties to end the conflict through dialogue, respect sovereignty, and avoid division. You know, war in Sudan is so painful. If you see what is happening there, women are raped, women are being killed, kids are being raped, kids are being killed. It's really sad, but you can see that the world has kept deaf. They've become deaf. They can talk about other wars, but the Sudan war is being forgotten. The Congo war is being forgotten. What is going on in this world? Climate change. He said climate change is the single greatest threat of our age and greatest opportunity of our time, highlighting Kenya's renewable energy effort. In conclusion, the 80th anniversary of the United Nations must be more than a commemoration. It must be a turning point for the organization. He reaffirmed Kenya's commitment as host of the UN headquarters on African soil to contribute to the renewal of the institution. That's where I was saying that. I hope this speech he made, that speech will get United Nations understand, not just using Kenya for the headquarters, because they didn't have anywhere. Now the headquarters is in Africa. Now the UN headquarters is in Africa, in Kenya. But why is it that Africa is being sidelined? Guys, what do you think about this? Do you think there's justice out there? To me, I believe the poor are getting poorer and poorer and poorer, because when they are making decisions, those decisions, they will target the poor. The richer will get richer and richer and richer. When they are making those decisions, they'll make sure that those decisions are favoring the rich. Thank you very much. Don't forget to watch this video from the beginning till the end. Please subscribe. Shower your aunt with blessings and a subscription. We'll continue uploading and informing you about other speeches from different African leaders, because wow, every leader stood up there. And later we'll see what is happening. We will even continue to be monitoring, open our eyes, what has changed so far. Will Kenyan president rescue Africa? And the United Nations, are they going to change how they think about Africa? Are they going to change these rich states, how they think about Africa? Because now the headquarters is in Africa, which is Kenya. We don't want just buildings because, okay, oh, Kenya, we are blessed. No, this is an African battle. It's not about Kenya. It's not about Africa, but it's about doing the right thing to Africans. Thank you very much. God bless you abundantly as you continue to subscribe, like, comment, and share. I'll tag this video in my other channel. Thank you. God bless you abundantly. Ciao, ciao. Bye.